today's topic, as you can see in the title of the episode, it's going to be about school-themed anime. You know, in particular, we're going to focus on high school-themed anime, but we might go step outside the circle every now and again, you know, to make it more interesting. And I got two special guests to help me do this, because you guys just don't want to hear me. You know what I think. So, first of all, we got the wonderful, the crazy. I'm only playing. We got the anime angel on, man. She was on episode 23, the Angel of Anime, it was called, and you go by the name of Tenshi Okami as well, I believe.
Yep.
Nice to have you back.
Nice to be back.
That's what I like to hear. You enjoyed our podcast we did the first time, right?
Yep, of course.
The people loved it. You know, you got your little fan base now on the group page and everything. So
I wouldn't be back here if I didn't enjoy it.
I guess you didn't have to say that though. You know what I mean? You're just here. You doing this. We love having you, and you know, we're just gonna keep doing this. So next up, we have a new guest, new guy, new talent. Someone that I met on AnimeVice.com. Great guy, a YouTuber, AnimeVicer, reviewer, collector, someone who's actually supporting the industry by buying anime, not just watching it for free, like me and all the other people. Welcome, Soti fan. What is up, man?
Not a lot. I hope you're doing good.
I'm feeling the love right now for you too. Man, so tell us a little bit about yourself, man, because I know I'm going to put a video of like an example of what you do on YouTube, but let the people know what you do, and you know what qualifies you to be on Damn at Everything Anime and Manga.
Like you said, I've been dabbling in YouTube for about a year and a half now, doing anime and manga reviews, even a little offbeat sci-fi book reviews. Other than that, I've been on Anime Vice for a couple of years now. I occasionally put up some editorials, I wrote some of the beginner's guide articles that are like introductions for some of them. I've done some little interest piece articles, and overall just, trying to get myself out there, just taking little hits here and there on trying to get more involved.
Yeah, and I've seen your stuff on YouTube. It's cool, man, to see someone actually showing you the unboxing of your titles. I'm watching these videos and I'm like, I don't have the money to buy all this shit. It's kind of, actually, I can't lie. I'm watching you do this and I'm getting a bit upset. I'm like, why can't I have all these boxes of anime? You got to share the love. You got to send me some titles. You know what I mean?
I have thought about at some point, maybe as far as to try and bring in more viewers of buying some stuff that maybe I didn't quite like, or maybe buying some cheap stuff, and then like seeing if I can get enough people to do a giveaway.
Well, I think I got some ideas. I might collaborate with you on some giveaways or some stuff like that. It won't just be you. But if I was you, I don't even know if I'll be doing giveaways.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'll try and figure out any way I can to get more people interactive. I mean, some of them I even ask questions. I have one segment called SotiFan16 Says, and I just talk about one certain topic and ask questions and answer questions, and yeah. So I mean, interaction is key to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely, interaction, communication, and working with other people. I think that's what someone said that makes this podcast in particular different from the rest. We work with different people. I'm British, you guys are American. We got Rory Confan on sometimes. He's in Greece. It's the international podcast. That's what you said, right?
Yes. International Anime Podcast.
International Anime Podcast. So I don't know why I put on the voice there. That was ridiculous. All right, man. So the reason why I got you guys on is because we're going to have this discussion about school-themed anime. Our opinions might vary on things, and we're going to bring up titles as examples of how to do a good school anime and how not to do it, and titles that use the theme as an excuse just to run their storyline, good, bad, whatever. It should be interesting. So I'm gonna start the podcast off officially with a statistic. According to AniDB, that's the anime database.net. It's basically the anime equivalent to IMDb. There are 493 titles categorized as high school or high school themed. Right? That's a lot of titles. That's a lot of anime.
Wow. I didn't even know that it was that much.
Yeah, 493. That's a lot, man. And I don't know. I've probably only seen in my life maybe 40 animes, specifically high school themed anime. I don't know. So the first thing we're going to tackle, because we want to tackle a lot of things in the podcast, we're just going to tackle the question or the thing most anime guys are saying now. What's up with all these anime titles being in high school? Why? Why do they keep using that premise as the premise?
Yeah.
So what's you guys' thoughts on this? Because we've spoken about this offline, but now we're doing a podcast. I want to know, what you guys think, and I guess it'll make sense if we do this turn by turn, and after that we'll kind of all jump in together. But Angel, let's start with ladies first.
All right.
Why do you think anime keeps using this theme?
Oh, there's two reasons for it. Partly it's a cop-out because it's been done before, they know it works, so they're going to do it again and try to make sure that people are going to want to buy it. The second reason, though, is one that I actually hope that it's more the reason for, is because people actually can think back on their own school life and relate to the anime. They could pretty much compare and contrast, like, say, you had a budding relationship with somebody in high school, then you watch a romance that's set in high school, and you can compare, oh, yeah, we did something like this, or, oh, we never did that.
So you see a common ground. It's like a common ground for all of us to kind of interact, even though it's Japan. When we all see these high school animes, we think of our own high school days, is kind of what you're saying.
And the reason why it's high school and not elementary school normally or middle school is because that's the one that's closest to us.
Okay. So, do you agree with that, Soti fan?
Yeah, that actually goes along with my feelings on it. Is the bulk of school themed anime and manga, as far as I see it, is for the relatability. I mean, yes, I'm sure it is partly for what can sell and be popular, but but obviously that stems from the relatability. You have millions of people in Japan, and so you sit there and you have this market, and some of them grew up with it, some of them are just getting into it, but most of the kids that get into it are junior high school, and so to have these characters, set in that portion of time in life, that is relatable to a very large audience. And so what happens then is it's like the word of mouth, and it's just this big, just streaming of popularity and just commonality.
It sounds like you're talking about target demographics a bit more, like the age range, from what you're saying as well.
Basically, not only with Japan, but almost everybody has had to go to school. And so even Americans can relate to the show, like when they bring it over, and not just Japanese.
Well, I mean, yes, I guess that's understandable, but obviously, I guess, especially since international sales are so much better now, then, obviously international sales and relatability is more important now, but obviously, if it won't sell domestically, then, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I agree generally with what you guys are saying, but you guys make it sound so innocent and, nice thinking. I like to think of it more as, like planned, targeted thinking on these producers' side of things, because, sex sells. And a lot of these high school animes now, they just run off on fan service. And maybe that's what pisses people off more. You got the high school, and you got the panties, and you got the skirts, and you got the guys trying to, look at the girls' skirts and all the stupid hijinks, and it's always romance, it's always like that, and people are just sick of that particular combination of things and the high school theme, bringing it all together. And yeah, it's a great, like you said, it hits the demographics of shonen, horny teenage boys. You know, using myself as an example, which I don't know why I segued like this, but you know, when you watch these animes now, like me, let's just use me as an example. I watch this anime, I see this cute school anime girl with a big breast and a high school uniform, and in just I know a bit off topic, bring hentai into it a little bit. You know, you see these guys sleeping with these girls, and you're like, yeah, I wish I did that. You know, so it is the common ground of you see the life in anime you wish you had. You see the high school experience, whether it's hentai or normal anime. They're having fun. They're doing all these things, high school sports activities, festivals, all this stuff. It draws you in because you wish you had that life. Maybe your high school experience wasn't like that. I know my high school experience or secondary school experience wasn't like that. In my life, it wasn't all fun and games and ha 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 ha. And you know, and even in terms of fan service, you know, I wasn't diving around corners or looking up girls' skirts as much as I see in these animes. But when you watch it in anime, I don't know, it makes you, it's like vicariously living through the characters when you see it. It's escapism, is basically what I'm saying. So, and these guys keep on banking on it. They keep on doing it because it works. And, you know, and my next question is, are you guys sick of it? Does it bother you guys that so much anime is based in this high school setting?
Really, the whole like setting of various anime series, to me, I don't make that a priority. Especially, I mean, if it's a school-based series, then I am totally fine with it. All I care about is then if, you know, the characters are interesting and hopefully a little, you know, more unique than, you know, just being placed, you know, instead of being able to place them in cookie cutter, you know, tropes. And, you know, as long as, you know, there's a reasonable story to it, be it whether, you know, a standard rom-com or, you know, some outrageous thing where, you know, some alien comes falling out of the sky and takes you away. No matter what it is, I mean, I don't get old of it. You know, to me, I just always look for the other things that will make it not matter.
Okay, that's a nice, calm, fair way of seeing it. Do you see things this way, Angel? Do you agree with that?
I do get tired of every single school anime having to do with a girl's breasts or butt. All that fan service normally pushes me away, because I guess partly because I'm a girl, but then also partly because it's overdone. I do like a lot of school anime where they pretty much break outside the box, outside the fan service, and maybe bring other elements into it.
I agree with that totally. And to illustrate all of our points, we're going to start bringing up titles now. It's the best way to, you know, make sense of the conversation. What we're going to do first when we bring up anime titles is, you just said, Angel, you would like to see more anime step out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
But then, all right, here's the catch-22. Here's the quid pro quo, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
How about animes that use high school just as an excuse to get their show going? Like, it's really got nothing to do with high school. And yeah, I'm going to ask you to run through some titles, because I know we all got lists of titles, and you got your list. So can you think of some titles where they just used high school as an excuse? And we're all going to do this. Just you feel they just used it to further the story, but in reality, it's got little to do with high school.
First, I think I have to say my definition of what school life anime is. Basically, it's anything that you cannot take the school life out of and still keep the consistency of the storyline. So basically, like, if you took the school life out of, for instance, Comic Party, both 1 and 2, you can still have a decent storyline without the school.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So give me some examples. Don't keep me waiting.
High School of the Dead, another one.
Perfect example, actually.
That's an old boy's example too.
Yeah, high school. It's got high school in it, right? How many episodes are they actually in the high school in this anime?
I think
2, maybe 3.
yeah,
I know I stole your thunder from saying so.
it's fine.
Yeah, high school. That's a good example. Let me bring up an example, which a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, well, I mean, kind of harsh, but even something like Full Metal Panic. The high school is a premise, but I feel that a lot of it takes place outside of the high school. The main character, who is was it Sosuke Sagara? Am I saying that right?
Yep.
He is the military guy, and you see him doing a lot of missions in different countries and stuff like that. And he only goes to school to protect the girl Chidori, I believe.
That's her name, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Yeah, so that's another example where you feel like they're using I feel like they're using high school just as an excuse to tell another story, wrapping a premise in a story.
Mm-hmm.
Got any examples, Will?
Oh, that was my primary example is what I would use for that. Okay, here's one. Ikitosen is one where it has the high school premise of the students and the student councils all being each part, because like each school is a different reigning area from the story of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Right.
And they all have their generals that are reincarnated and whatnot. But like that's really the only thing with school. I mean, school has nothing to. There's it's like these kids have no class. There's no teachers. There's no nothing. It's just the kids at the school, and it's just a place to hang out and wait to be attacked, or come up with a plan to attack another school. Because then, I mean, the primary bulk of the entire franchise, covering all 4 seasons, is there's fights in the schoolyard, but I mean, there's also fights on piers. One is on like some island, and so it's just there's no real relevance to school, except for the uniforms, I guess.
Can't you also just take that and replace school with maybe Family Ties or something like that, and it would be the same premise?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see your point, Angel. Yeah, and if we use that formula of a lot of titles, it just seems like they are using it to get in the audience, to draw that common ground for all of us to start watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some favorites that we like and some titles that we particularly dislike. But before we get into them, let's just throw out some titles out there and talk about some titles that use the school theme. Maybe some we like, some we don't. Let me go first. Something like Lucky Star, for example. Lucky Star, set in high school setting, moe-looking girls. What's it got to do with high school? I really don't know. They're just talking a lot of adult conversations. Yes, the comedy is very witty, sometimes very mundane. What's that about? I'll throw another example. Well, 2. Something like Marmalade Boy. Marmalade Boy, this is more of a shoujo anime, just about love relationships. It's set in high school again. What's it got to do with high school? Nothing much. It's just a premise for there to see the love problems and, And another example, Boys Over Flowers, the same thing with this Marmalade Boy. A girl comes to school, she gets bullied. But what do you see, let me be specific. What do I see about high school in these animes? Nothing. I don't see them really going to class. I don't see them learning anything. I don't see them taking part in the activities. These titles in particular. It's just, I don't know. I can understand people just saying, why can't it just be something else? Why can't it just be another premise? Why does it have to be school? And I know we already established why. And oh, sorry, I know I'm kind of going rambling a bit, but I should also bring this up. This is something that me and Roricon discussed a while ago. Another reason why companies like using, or these producers like using high school as a theme, is because it's easy for the viewer to establish the boundaries of the story. Because, like you said, Angel, we all been to school, we all know what it's about. We all know classes, you have breaks, you have this, you have that. When you set an anime in a different place, you have to establish the boundaries. Like if it was an anime about a town, or they weren't going to school, you would have to kind of get to know the town, and maybe that would take time that they don't want to do with titles. But when you say in school, it's already in our heads. We know what's going to happen with the dimensions of the story. So it's just easier if we just keep it in school rather than keeping it in space or in the street or in a warehouse, or do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's you guys' turn to bring up some titles, some random titles to pick apart before we go into our bests and worsts.
Okay, here's one. It's actually from the same creator as one of mine in my less favorable list, and it's called A Place Where You Live, or A Town Where You Live. That's the English translation. The Japanese name is Kimi no Iromaki. There's like almost 200 chapters out now. It's a currently running thing, but like it's school based. And it covers the characters from high school and up into college now, and just like it's only about the interactions of the characters, and obviously that's a very important part of the story, but really school has a whole lot of nothing to do with it except for some some decisions that they make on where they want to go to college, or if they don't, or things like that. So really, beyond making certain decisions, school doesn't really take any place in the story besides the characters gathering together.
All right, you were bringing up another title, Will. I know I keep calling you Will. What's wrong with me?
I don't care. Okay.
All right.
Let's see. Okay. I really like this one. I really like this series, even though it has very little to do with school, and that's Heaven's Lost Property. Or the Japanese is Soro no Toshimono.
Oh, did I hear Angel laugh? Or what's going on, Angel? What? Do you know that one?
Yes, I do. I know that one.
I have no idea. So you two get into it. Start fighting. What's going on?
Well, it's if she doesn't like it, then it's because of how perverted it is, and I love Tomoki for it because I'm a huge harem fan service buff. I love it to death in series.
I like fan service, but that one goes a little overboard.
But the thing is, it doesn't have any nudity. See, it cuts that line so thinly, and just Tomoki's perversion is just fantastic.
I think it also just depends on the fact that you're a guy and I'm a girl.
Well, of course, I will make that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it is a guy's series. I mean, as is most any fan service show. So, I mean, I will not argue that.
Can I interject for a second? Angel, have you seen Yamada's First Time?
I haven't seen that one.
You need to see that. That's like a role reversal perversion anime, where this time the girl is the horny female character trying to get laid from guys.
Oh,
so she's too much of a wuss to do it.
Yeah, you've seen it. What do you think of that, Will?
I liked it. Right now I'm borderline. I think I'm gonna wait until the box set gets cheaper, and I'll probably get it. But I mean, it's enjoyable and it's funny. It like you said, it does the flip flop on what roles the characters play. But it's an all right and decent watch.
That would be enjoyable just to watch, just to see that.
I would actually like your opinion on that, Angel. It's a shame you didn't watch that before this podcast, but we'll hear.
If you had told me about it, then I would have.
I know. I don't know. I think we've spoken about it on the group page. Catface. I'm talking to you right now. You watched it and you didn't even tell me. What was that about? Some people are closet harem lovers, closet perverts, and that Catface is one of them.
Oh no, I'm blatant. It's all over me. You look anywhere and you're gonna know it.
I'm proud of you for that, for being, upfront about that. That's something to be proud about.
I am a very blatant person. You'll find that out.
That's cool, man. That's cool. All right, man. So,
But yeah, it had nothing. It really didn't have much to do with school, except for occasionally attending classes. But then hijinks happened at school. So I mean, yeah, I can't even remember if they had any of the school festival stuff or not. They had various like town festival that took place in episodes, but I can't remember if there was even a school festival thing.
are you talking about Yamada's first time still?
No. I was going back to Heaven's Lost Property. My bad for not.
No. It's okay. It's okay. I might edit that to make sense later, so don't be disappointed with that. But okay, Angel. So now it's your turn for some random titles to go through.
Yeah, actually, I've got a couple. I think FLCL, or Fooey Kui, is not really considered a school anime, though it has a lot of school stuff in it.
You should be banned from this podcast from talking about the anime in any negative light at all. You know that, right?
Well, I like it. It's
I'm just playing with you. No.
I do like it. It's just the fact that a lot of people say that it's a school life anime, and I don't see how exactly it fits in. I see it more as a life in general.
Really? I've never heard anyone call that a school life anime.
I've never heard that either. At least I've never made the assumption so.
Yeah, I've always heard people just call it some crazy slice of life sci-fi weird anime. Yeah.
It's weird.
No, it's interesting you say that, Angel. It's interesting you bring it up.
Because it does have a couple times where he goes to school and it's about his school friends and part of it is school life, but it seems to branch off from there.
The only thing I would say about that FLCL, at least it doesn't start in school, and school is so minimal.
True.
In that anime that I would just, if someone said that, I'd be like, really? Because that's a bit of a stretch in my mind to even class it as school. It's just a part of life. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Sorry to stamp on your parade there.
That's okay. Another one is Wallflower.
Yes, me and you have spoken about this a couple times. Go for it.
It's another really good one, but I've seen another show where they took the school part out of it. It's the live action. They pretty much took the school part out of it, and it still worked.
Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. I feel like there was really not much point in putting the school element in there at all. It might have even worked better without it. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that one, Sotty fan?
No, I have not.
It's a good comedy, really good comedy.
It's good. What I do consider school life is pretty much like a Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei is one. Where basically it's a teacher and his classmates. They do talk about the world, and it does get a little bit boring, but they also talk about interesting things about the characters. And it does revolve around school in that they're learning about themselves with the teacher.
Okay.
So.
Is that dubbed? Is that licensed?
No, it's not dubbed yet. Unfortunately. I think it would be better dubbed my way.
Yeah, but the manga has been licensed though, so that can be picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy the manga?
I actually haven't checked out any of it. Personally, the primary thing that turned me off of it was the animation style, along with the fact that just the premise didn't really find itself in my usual mix of genres that I watch, and so no.
It gets a little random at times.
Oh, I'm sure.
Another one, I'm actually on edge with this one because I don't know whether exactly to put it in school life or not school life, is Fruits Basket.
Yeah, I think we kind of were deliberating about this as well off the mic,
Yeah.
and it's half and half for me as well. Fruits Basket. No, maybe not actually. Maybe not. I don't know. Sorry to cut you, Angel.
Well, it's basically on the premise of she wouldn't have even met the family if not for the fact that she was going to school.
True. But there's not really a lot. I think they do have a lot of interactions in the school, but there's hardly any school events in that anime, is there?
Well, I do know that the manga actually brings it more into light. And that's sort of why I'm sort of talking about both the manga and the anime together, because the anime was created without a lot of interaction with the manga. It just seems like you lose a lot if you just watch one of them. There's another thing where a character has to do a certain thing before he graduates high school. And if he can't, he has to do something he doesn't want to do at all. And so that's another reason why the school life part sort of interacts, is the fact that he has this certain amount of time that he can do this thing. Otherwise, something bad's going to happen.
Okay. You got any more? Because we're going to slightly move into... I'm going to bring up something as well.
Well, you know I have a lot. I don't think we want to sit here all day and go through my whole list.
Okay. Maybe not. Maybe you got a point, because we're going to go through our favorites. But before we do, I just want to say, right now we're picking apart random titles saying that that's not school, that is school, and that's not school. Do you think that would interest someone to see more school in a school anime anyway? Is that really something people want to see? Is that something you guys want to see anyway?
I got no. I think I kind of said this before. I have no problem with the school life theme. Of course, for me, it always depends on what the story is with it that goes with it, or like the characters and whatnot. So really, that's the only thing I'd like to see more of is either better, more unique characters, or just a more solid story line. Yeah, but I don't really care if it doesn't take place in with the school or not, as long as there is a solid story to it. Otherwise, then I wouldn't mind a school, an actual school life anime that actually takes place with school, but have it be a seinen instead of a regular shonen or something. Have it be a seinen, so it's gritty.
You have to push the bar, didn't you? You have to push it into that 18 plus territory.
Because I love it.
You're a big seinen nut then, yeah?
Yeah. I don't really check out like too much of the seinen stuff. Mostly, I've actually kind of kept with like the manga end of it. But yeah, I always love my adult stuff. I love my gritty action, my all the language and.
You don't usually find that in these school-themed animes, do you? Though that grittiness.
No, not really.
And hold on, actually, I might as well interject. And why don't I bring up a title that everyone's talking about right now? One that Toonami just launched, about the guy that gets his whole class murdered in the first episode. Would someone consider that as
Wonderland?
Yeah, Dead Man. Would you consider there's your seinen, and there's your high school element?
Yeah, but the more popular, the more attention and popularity that gets here, the more I dislike the series.
Yeah,
it's really annoying how much people are loving the show. When, it's all right. The animation's fine. The story, is interesting, but it's a terrible main character though. Terrible main character. He's on Shinji level, for me.
Isn't that a great example of just using the high school premise for one, just like High School of the Dead, using it for one moment just to further the storyline? Because it's the basis of the story, isn't it?
Well, I think that's, especially for something like Dead Man, that's how they draw people in. Oh, it's it's these high school or junior high, kids, and and then oh my God, they're all murdered, and there's only one alive. That's how you draw people in. And then it's like, oh no, but he's in this prison. That's a wonderland. So, woo.
Yeah, I just I don't consider that school life at all. Actually,
No, it's prison life is what it is.
Yeah, there's nothing to it that really says school, except for that one tiny little bit about him being put in prison because he killed his classmates type thing. So
there's a few titles out there that have that exact same thing. It just starts off with a high school student, and then it just goes out of control. I know we've kind of going over what we've already said now a little bit, but because it's recent, I wanted to throw that out there. And another recent title, I might as well, since we're going to move off this a little bit, is I recently wrote a review for Mysterious Girlfriend X, the anime about the girl and the guy, the boyfriend and girlfriend that connect through dribble, saliva.
yeah.
And, that's a high school setting. That's a high school anime. Oh, actually, I think it's middle school. I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's middle school.
I think it is middle school, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could say the same about, just so many series, that, they have some sort of high school, at least high school age, characters, and, it has stuff to do. I mean, Chaos Head is an immediate example.
Oh, yes. I love that show. But I don't consider it school.
Exactly. I mean, they're high school age, but that's the extent of it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you say, Angel, off mic as well, about certain titles not clarifying whether it is high school or middle school?
Yeah, actually. Reason why I say that is because both have the sailor uniforms, and most of the time the middle schoolers look like high schoolers anyway, so you jump back and forth on, is this middle school, is this high school? And the only clue that you have is this one little sentence maybe that says, oh, we're in middle school, or oh, we're in high school.
Yeah, it's easy to, mistake a 13-year-old girl with double D's, as a high school student.
Or middle school. I mean, Icon has a 6-year-old or a 6th grader with F cups. I don't understand it.
I don't either. I mean, I don't know. Visually looking at 2D, it's just so hard to judge sizes anymore.
Well said. Oh man. So all right.
I have to remember that I'm with a bunch of guys.
They're not that bad. Come on now. We're holding back. We are really being gentlemen, aren't we?
Oh my, I could be so much worse.
Please don't.
All right. So next we're going to get into our favorite school-themed animes. Now, again, it might vary, and we might step outside the circle. They might not necessarily be school-themed. They might be middle school. They might not be 100% pure. But we're going with what we love, our favorite, our top 3 and our bottom 3, what we consider to be terrible depictions of high school life, or maybe they're just using it again as a premise idea and nothing else. So, ladies first, Angel, what's your top 3 high school themed, high school life animes?
I have to bring up Baka to Test, definitely. That one is full on school life, but it makes fun of every other school life that has these certain characteristics to it.
That, it's a little bit of a parody.
Yeah.
It's a parody in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I would say both. It parodies itself, and there was an episode where they actually parodied Evangelion, which was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they throw a DBZ reference in there too? I feel like they did.
Yeah. It's just the evil one stood out for me because they kept on shoving that in your face.
Well,
that was bad.
Now that's one where you can sort of understand how they're how their school works, but at the same time, you don't really understand it because they've thrown so many different elements into it that, yes, it's a comedy, but half the time it goes overboard.
Yeah.
I think that was part of the charm of it, though. At least for me personally, of the the just going so far in the comedy. I think that's just it was just the style of it because I guess when you think of it that way, then it's a series that doesn't take itself seriously, and it just has fun with it.
Yeah, I was skeptical because you recommended that to me, Angel, and I had a little hype about it, and I wasn't taken to it on the first couple episodes, but like I said, they had these little running gags. Like there was one episode where the main character had his hand stuck to a table, and they ran with that joke for the whole episode. It was just so ridiculous. It's the kind of joke that would just end on the next scene in any other anime, but in this anime, he walked through the corridor, went to the toilet, the table stuck to his hand. Not a small table either, like a big coffee table. It was totally, it was hilarious. And little things like that made that anime great. So, I second that. I really did enjoy the anime. And the dub was great.
Not only that, but it also was really surprising to me that they put both a lesbian and a gay person into the storyline. Even though it wasn't really the main part of the show, they still had a hand into it.
Well, yeah, because it's funny.
Well, it's one of those things where a lot of school life anime that doesn't center around that specific area will not show the different demographics. They would just show boy, girl, fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, in their case, they had so many different varieties that you could connect to at least one of the characters, if not two.
Yeah. That's a great choice. I can't blame you for putting that in your top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and besides, it's funny, and I mean, who wouldn't love, to have their school be like that, where you do battle, based upon whatever scores you have and whatnot. I mean, it'd just be so cool.
It's like a little digital version of Pokemon or something. It was really crazy, really cute. Keep going, Angel. Keep going. What's next?
I have to also bring up World God Only Knows.
Cool. I like that one too.
That one is really... It's set a lot in the school genre, but it makes fun of the dating sim games, which are very popular.
Yeah.
So it brings both parts, and it sort of makes fun of it, but also does bring it into a serious note at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, since that's what it's based around. He uses his Gal game knowledge in his own real life situations, and comedy ensues. It is enjoyable. I haven't seen the second season or the dub yet, though.
I haven't seen the second season yet. I've seen the dub, and it was pretty good.
I have noticed that about Sentai's work over about the past year or so, that their dub work has been really well.
Mm-hmm. It's just a pretty good one. Let's see here. I do also have to bring up School Rumble.
That's in your favorites.
Yes, actually. I like that a lot. I do have it on an edge of, is it school life or is it not? But I sway more into the fact that it's school life because of most of the stuff is what high schoolers are normally going through. The love triangles, the problems and issues with friends. They even have a girl who has problems with her dad being too busy for her now that she's a high schooler and can take care of herself.
Mm-hmm.
School Rumble was one of my favorite comedies as well, but the way the anime series ended, and I will just say it's in my list. It's not in my favorites. It's in my worst, which I'll get to later. But I think it was a little bit too ambitious for its own good. That's in a nutshell. That's my problem with School Rumble. But I'll elaborate on that later.
Yeah, I've only seen a few episodes of it, so I mean, I think it's funny. I think though that it tries a little bit too much to be funny. But other than that, I really have no judgment on it.
Well, I've seen all of them, and I actually fell in love with it. I did have a problem with the ending, but that doesn't really change the fact that I really liked it.
Just out of interest, when you say you saw the ending, did you see that 2-episode season 3 series?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what did it for me. That sent me over the edge. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, but that wasn't. You've got one more, haven't you, in your best, right? Or was that it?
Well, there's All Around High School Host Club, which is one of my favorites. But I thought that Will was going to bring that up.
Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and bring it up. Around High School Host Club. As I've already said, shoujo is not really my thing, but I mean, I enjoyed Host Club from beginning to end, just because it was just funny. Just the jokes and the interactions between the characters just is what made it more so enjoyable for me. And that, I mean, it was some nice character growth as well, and dealing with different high school issues, such as a little bit of bullying or a dance or anything like that. And so while there isn't like any class as such take place at all, the whole thing takes place within host club activities. It's just, I don't know, it's just enjoyable. I never really have tried to analyze it very much.
Well, what I really liked about it was that, sure, it's set in a rich kid's school, but it shows that even rich kids have the same problems and issues as everybody else who goes to school. I mean, they have the romance, they have the drama, they have the bullying. It's all these different things that we ourselves have gone through going to a public school. The only difference is that they're in a private school.
And they have a lot of money.
True on that aspect, but it's still the money didn't ever change who they truly were.
Yes, that's true.
I have not seen that one, so I can't comment, unfortunately.
I love their reaction to instant coffee. They're so used to having the beans grinded and having them being fresh and everything, and then it's like, okay, it's already ground. Oh, commoners are so smart.
I love the one of the girls' reactions to it of, "Oh, my father would scold me if I try this."
Oh yeah, it's just talk about spoiled princesses.
Yes.
Audience,
if you're like me and you have no idea what they're talking about, I know how you feel.
It is enjoyable. I mean, of course, with the ending though, there is I don't know how much manga material after the ending, but I mean, it's a reasonable ending and it's an enjoyable show overall.
Mhm.
Cool. I'll put that to my watch list, man.
Yeah.
I wish there was a second season. That's all I wish for.
Yes, indeed. Let's see here. I think that this is another one that we could both talk about, or all of us, Toradora.
That one I can't talk about.
Man, I recently wrote a review for Toradora. It's you know what, I in my review, I don't want to say I gassed it up and said it was like, I did say it was refreshing. It was great to see an anime that dealt with, school life and drama and romance in a fresh way. But in saying that, the show doesn't break the mold. It doesn't do anything spectacular per se. I just found it did everything right. The characters were very enjoyable. The storyline, the premise of the storyline between the two characters, liking each other's best friends and using each other as wingmen, that was interesting. It was great, man. Comedy was great. Ending, I love the ending. There's not much more I can say. I just think it's a great all-arounder.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said there. That's what I loved about it was, that it was a nice, romantic comedy that had more depth to it than your usual romantic comedies. And then, like say the nice characters. I do like it animated better than the manga, more so just because it looks better. The characters look better animated than just as the manga is. But the comedy I liked. I really liked the comedy, and even Ryuji, and his mom who worked late at night as a hostess and whatnot. That added another character, nice character development in there.
And Tiger and her father as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really great all-arounder. And, I've written this in my review. The thing that devastated me about the anime is that it got the US license, got the US distribution, no dub.
Yeah. I mean, it is a good sub, though. It does have a nice Japanese cast.
I don't, the thing is, I have nothing against subs. I basically watch anime more in subs and dubs anyway, but it's all about rewatchability for me. If I want to rewatch an anime, I want to rewatch it in my native language because it's easier for me. I can lay down on my couch and chill and watch it. When I watch subs, I have to sit on my computer screen and, the posture isn't 100%. I can't really relax. I have to kind of focus a little bit more. It varies from person to person, but for me, I don't want to say it's a chore, but it takes a little bit of concentration where I want to relax, and with my dubs, I can relax and watch it like a normal TV show. But with subs, it takes that bit of concentration that takes a little bit of an enjoyment away from me. So,
as far as watching on the big screen, I can be that guy and just say, get Apple TV and make it connect to your TV.
I've got Apple TV.
What I have a problem with the subs is that I read slow. So therefore, I actually have to pause the anime in order to read what they're saying. So that's why I like dubs more.
Yeah, I'm a slower reader, and I got some buddies who are really fast and whatnot. But like when it comes to reading subs, I know that I have to just read, and sometimes I have to just totally ignore what's going on screen otherwise, just to be able to make sure I read everything.
Well, that's terrible. For me, that's like the worst thing for an anime because that's like the essence of anime is the animation, in most cases. And if I have to look up, look down, look up, what I mean? It just pisses me off. And a lot of, I know I'm kind of going off on one now, but a lot of the anime I'm seeing nowadays, the written dialogue is excellent. The dialogue is getting so tight and so witty, but my eyes are focused on the subs, so I can't look at the screen and take it all in. I'm looking down, looking up. So,
Maybe then you ought to make an option to have the subs on the top of the screen.
You know what? You're trying to be funny, all right? But that's not going to help me. All right? What's going to help me and what's going to help anime progress is dubs, English dubs, and not just any English dubs. Good English dubs by, Funimation or Sentai or a good dubbing company. And nowadays, dubbing is good in general, So, but just getting back to Toradora, I've seen a lot of anime similar to Toradora that have been dubbed. So when I saw this wasn't dubbed and it was licensed by NIS, it just pissed me off in general,
Yeah. Well, I kind of feel the same way about another series on my list. Maid-sama. It's only got a sub release as well.
Okay, is that in your favorites as well?
Oh yeah, it's in there with it just because Maid-sama is another romantic comedy, but this time it's like a popular guy and the student council president, but she has a secret, and that's where the title comes in, because she helps her family get by working at a maid cafe, and he finds out about it because no one at school knows, and so then that's where their interaction starts, and he just plays everything off all nice and cool, and she just it takes her so long to come around to it, and so that's where a lot of the comedy chimes in, and it's a nice developing story. Obviously, it takes place in high school, and there is a number of high school life elements that do take place in it. Like being in class, and and the student council work, and all that stuff. And so it's nice to see something like that is enjoyable, and it is one of my preferred romantic comedies to watch.
Okay, I might check that out too.
It's well on fan service too. It's just basically primarily about the school life, and then of course the romance and the comedy.
Okay, you're winning me over. That sounds like it's actually worth my time. I think I'm going to check that out.
Same here.
Yeah, it's actually an enjoyable male main character too.
Cool, even better. Got any more?
Otherwise, I could mention Seitokai Yakuin Domo, which sorry for y'all who haven't seen and have no idea what the hell I just said. I don't know the English translation for it, but it is a primarily school life. It's very comedic. There isn't there's maybe like romantic tings to it, but not really. It's pretty much purely school life comedy. There are a couple other shows that are kind of like it. I can't think of their titles, but it's just the interaction. This whole thing is about the interactions of the student council, and there's a boys' school and a girls' school that I was thinking about merging, and so they send one boy over to just so that way the girls can get a feel for having a guy around.
Right.
And it doesn't have like any harem element unless you part of your definition of harem is just having many girls around a guy, because there's really no romantic stuff to it. There's a lot of perverted stuff in it that's said by the girls, which is a lot of the funniness. There's a lot of wordplay and whatnot, and so it's an interesting comedy too, and not just a blatant one.
Okay.
But it is one of those that's really fast reading at points. But it is quite funny because the guy gets put on the student council, and then it's just the whole series is about their interactions.
Not sure about this one, but I might look into it. All right, cool. So I think that's it for your best. You're going to go to your not so likes now.
Yeah, not so like. How about I go with this one? Suzuka.
Okay.
I watched it all through. Once I got done, I had no idea why. It's a very shoujo-y thing. It is school life, and primarily deals with the interactions of Suzuka, who is the main character, and usually I don't watch anything with a female main, lead, I guess. Shows how much of a guy I am.
Misogynist.
But and how like the lead male like just fell in love with her, and then it's primarily just about her dealing with being on like the track and field team, and and trying to get better. So that way, I think if I remember right, she wants to get a scholarship and whatnot, and she's dealing with that and her emotions, and she doesn't feel like that she can do both, and so yeah, that's about all I can remember from it. It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too good from what you're saying. I'm having trouble believing it's that flat, though. It's just about a girl who's trying to figure out what she wants to do in school, and a guy that likes her for no reason.
Oh, no, there's no reason. I mean, it's one of the usual reasons that a guy presents of liking a girl in an anime. But
She's got big breasts?
She does.
I mean, is that a reason?
No, I don't think that. I don't remember that being the reason.
When you said that one of the reasons in anime, that's the reason, right? She got good body.
No, it's usually like, they get entranced by their performance, in a match, or
okay, don't worry. Yeah, all right. Don't worry about it. I'm already getting bored. I'll take your word for it. That's a piece of crap. So yeah, all right.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, is I'm enjoying some of the work, some of the manga work from the creator, so I always kind of threw myself off with that.
Okay. All right. What's next?
Green. I figured we'd say some more on that for everyone.
Green. Oh, why do people hate Green so much? Is it because a guy got raped by a bear in the anime? Is that? Come on, people.
It is funny, but.
Okay, you just turned me off from even trying to watch that now.
Well, it is a pretty perverse series.
There's a guy that did a review on this, and I was watching him take apart the anime, because I was thinking to myself, I haven't seen Green for a long time. All right? It's in your worst. For me, it's like a guilty pleasure, because it's one of those perverted, ridiculously stupid animes. There's a lot of shows like Green, you know what I mean? But the only thing is, it's slightly different because the level of ridiculousness is extremely high. I mean, they go through some barriers. Like I said, the guy gets raped by a bear, and it's really funny. That scene, even the guy that hated it had to admit that scene was actually really funny.
Yeah, and but then again, they throw so many genres in there, like sci-fi and time travel, and some fateful love story. They just went such tangents in that series.
I can't blame anyone for not liking the series, because, to be honest with you, it starts off with this. It has some ambitious storyline. They're trying to make some epic love story in the beginning. It always starts off with this stupid intro about two lovers throughout all time fall in love. Will they ever meet again? And then the anime is nothing like that. It's just ridiculous comedy. But just in its defense, because I'm going to let you run with it, because it's on both of our lists. That's why I'm kind of cutting in when you're talking.
No, we're pretty much well covering that stuff. I mean, the only other thing I could possibly mention is Happy Lesson.
Sorry, just finishing off Green. The thing I liked about Green was you got these three male characters that are so retarded and stupid.
Yeah.
You usually get guys that, the typical thing in anime when you're looking at girls is that, you walk into the girls' locker room and a guy gets slapped. These three knuckleheads, they're so stupid and mentally retarded. It's like they end up fucking each other.
And now you wonder why I don't like shows that have the pretty girls like that.
Yeah, but this is just a horrible example of fan service series.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I guess I can't recommend it to anyone, but I didn't think it was all that bad. I think people blew it out of proportion. And to finish it off, they did something on the end I actually liked, and this is where people are going to really criticize me. The series doesn't end. I think it's 12 episodes, but the 13th episode is actually a hentai episode that wraps up the whole story.
Yeah, I believe I saw it at some point. And what's terrible is that was probably better than the entire series.
A lot of people have said that one episode, the hentai episode, is better than the whole series. And to be honest with you, I really like the fact that they had that episode there to finish off the story, because it made the anime better on a whole for me. Just that last episode. And yes, when I say hentai, there was a sex scene in it, and that's not the reason why I liked it particularly, but I know people are not going to believe it, but ultimately it's the truth. It's one of those this is one of those animes that committed to its ridiculousness and went all the way. It's like old boy said when we pulled that April Fool's joke on you guys. If you're gonna go retard, go full retard. This anime went full retard, and I'm like, you went all in. I can appreciate that. End of story. So, that's what I got to say about Green.
Yeah.
Dubbed. The dub isn't very good, but it is English dubbed, by the way. So.
Yeah.
I know I dug my own grave. Don't worry.
Let's talk about one of the worst that we all can talk about. Aiken.
I don't really consider that under any genre except for atrocity. That's the only thing that it falls under.
Yeah, if there's a genre called big breasts, that's it. There's no.
No, big breasts is an understatement. This is like, I don't know, more than defying gravity. Some. I can't even think of something that would describe such a thing.
I do consider it school life because it takes place at a school sports festival. Like, the whole entire premise is the school sports festival.
Really? I thought it takes place on a piece of breast.
Pretty much. One of the girls is big enough.
It pretty much is, except that I do have to say this. The only way I got the storyline was because I read the information about it. I did not get this from the actual anime. The fact it's at a school sports festival. That's where all of this is going, and I do have to say that it's a school life genre, and it's one of the worst.
Wow, I can't believe you went the extra mile to even find out what it's about. I commend you for that.
I had to know what it was about, otherwise I wouldn't be able.
You didn't see the triple D breast, isn't that what?
No. It's like Z in there. It's ridiculous, and
I can't imagine. Well, you know what? It makes sense that it's actually a girl that would say, "I need to figure out the storyline," because the guys like die. The breast, and that's it.
They're not even well drawn. It's a poorly animated series.
100% agree with that. Yeah, even on the perverted, even from a perverted perspective, I can't even say I could even enjoy that. It's just this, like you said, Angel, a couple minutes ago. This is really short girl. She's probably a preschool or something.
They say she's a 6th grader.
Her breasts. Her breasts are bigger than her body. It's just fucking inconceivable.
The only image that really is stuck in my mind right now, because I've been seeing the GIFs of it all over the place, is her jumping up and down in her swimsuit and the breasts going flopping all over the place. I'm like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah, it's series like that make me appreciate Girls Bravo so much more.
Girls Bravo, yeah, I remember that show. Little Moe girls getting naked. That was interesting as well.
I love it. I know Funimation just put out another box set for it, but I have the old Genion box set that has each individual volume, and it has a big box, like a huge art. It's a huge box that has all the volumes in each individual disc case, and it's got art all the way around it. Because that was like the only thing you could find it because it was out of print, and that thing retailed for $120. I picked that bad boy up on eBay for $69, which is the semi-appropriate price.
You know what? I'm not going to go into this too much. All I can remember about that anime is little Moe girls bathing naked for some reason, and I can't remember anything else.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
And I'm not even saying that that was what I was looking for. I don't remember the storyline. That's all I can remember. And there was a big fuss over it being uncensored. There was a very big fuss about that.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much of a story. They had a little bit of a story at the end about me. But the two things I liked most about it, though, is the Fukuyama, the male Fukuyama, because he is the second most perverted male character I have ever seen, and he's hilarious.
Is that actually a school life?
A bit. I mean, it is at school.
Because I've never really watched it. I've heard of it, like, slightly. I didn't even know it was considered school life. So I
Oh,
thought
yeah,
that you
I
were
mean-
going off topic here.
No, it's got school in it.
Okay.
Angel, like I said, it's like I can and that. All I can remember is nakedness in both of them. So yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
Anyway,
And I have one more thing to say, but I don't care anymore.
go on then. You might as well. We went on this long. Go on.
Okay. Miharu, the main female character in Girls Bravo, the pink-haired one, her English voice actress is Michelle Ruff. And it's funny, or I find it funny, because she is also the voice of the English dub for Rukia from Bleach. It was a totally different character.
That is interesting.
I'm not gonna lie, yeah. I did find that somewhat interesting, yeah. All right, man. What's your last title then?
Happy Lesson. You know, it's yeah.
Sorry. That was a very unhappy lesson for me.
Yeah, I went into it from the premise, and it made me think that there was going to be a romance element to it, and it just wasn't there.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because my memory might be hazy on this. Is that the title where the guy actually kicks all the girls out of his house?
No, that's the title where the guy has like 5 or 6 mothers who are teachers.
Yeah. But doesn't he? There's a point where he kicks them all out of his house at one point, isn't there?
I think it's their house, though. I thought.
No, it's his house.
It's his house, and I remember him. I remember him kicking them all out, and me thinking, "Wow, that's the first time I actually see a guy kick out a harem of women out of his house." They came back the same episode, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, they must have been PMSing or something. I don't remember.
I really didn't care much for it, and that's kind of why I didn't even finish the anime. It was just, it felt boring to me.
It was.
I have to agree. Exactly the same.
It was a struggle to finish, and it's not even that long, but it was.
Yeah.
It was just a struggle. Ugh.
Do you know what really sticks out to me about Happy Lesson? The cover. When you look at the DVD cover, it's got that one teacher whose eyes look like they're empty, like she's totally soulless, and it's just really freaky. If you see that cover of Happy Lesson, it's just and she is that way in the anime. She's got no personality or something. It was really weird. I didn't enjoy the anime at all. I did watch all of it, but it's very forgettable.
Well, even the comedy fell short to me, at least.
Yeah, it's I don't know, like it didn't even try to really, make anything of itself. I mean, just every tag you could put on the series, it didn't even go for it. I mean, it kind of went halfway through everything.
All right. Well, lastly, because I know we've gone into titles a lot. I told you guys this would take the majority of the podcast, but after this, we're going to have one more discussion, and we're kind of done-ish anyway. But I just got to go through my favorites and least favorites. Now, the good news is you guys have kind of hit on some of the titles I already had on my list, so this isn't going to take very long. For me, my favorite school life anime of all time, and it's actually in my top 10 animes of all time, is Keikei no, which is the Japanese title. The English title is His and Her Circumstances. This is a school life anime that is very much to do with school. The main 2 characters are very intelligent. I think one of them is head of the school council, and the other one is it's something like that. I think they're both presidents of something in the school. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, they're both very smart. This anime balances comedy, drama, and storytelling extremely well. It's extremely popular. A lot of people like it. It's got a great dub. My only qualm with the dub, which I'm going to point out, and you won't say would agree with me 100%, the male character, totally miscast. I can't get his name right now. I should have got it before we started, but the male character in Keikei no, the dark-haired guy, he is just, no, they should have cast someone else. Everyone else...
Or Christopher Nicholas.
Okay, is that his name? I don't remember, but yeah.
I've got it up here on my anime list. So.
Yeah, don't totally, he just doesn't sound right. He comes off too heavy-handed in his voice, too depressing. But the anime is phenomenal. Great anime. One of my favorite animes of all time. Couldn't recommend it more. Nothing much more to say about it because you guys haven't seen it, have you?
Not
Nope.
yet.
Yep. Okay, cool. So, actually, I think it was a Genuine release, and since they're gone bust, I think it's floating in the wind.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's picked it back up.
I don't think I even heard of it before, so.
The downside to the anime is it doesn't end in the anime. You have to read the manga to finish it.
Well, that's what happens with any harem series. So imagine my disappointment.
Well, that's another good. If I didn't mention, this is not a harem. This is just a romance between the main characters and a lot of side characters. It's not a harem at all. So
I know, but I'm just saying a connection on how I never get endings. It's always open-ended.
The manga is good as well, by the way. Keikano, very good manga. I haven't finished it, but it's very, very, very good. So highly recommended. My second anime is Toradora, which me and Soti fans already gone through, so I don't need to go through that again. My third anime best is Clannad. In terms, have you guys seen Clannad, by the way?
Yep.
Nope.
Okay.
Don't worry, you can ruin the story for me. I won't be watching it.
Okay.
Oh, you have to watch it. It's part of the trio. The key trio.
What trio? The trio of sappiness?
No, you know what? All right, let me tell you how I feel about Clannad. We did a review for this. Me and you actually reviewed Clannad on an early episode. But Clannad is it is a harem. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it isn't a fan service harem, and it's a harem in like Air and this Canon. These shows where you have a guy and a group of girls, and the guy has an experience with each girl. They through the series, let's say 24 episodes, you have 4 or 5 episodes of each girl until the last girl is the girl that he ends up with. It's one of those kind of harems, not the kind not shuffle harem where you got the guy who ends up having all the girls he wants.
Yeah.
It's the kind of harem he only ends up with one girl, but he has his time with all these other girls. So
Well, it's based off of a dating sim.
yeah.
Well, if you like those style of harems, then I dare you to watch Yasuga no Sora.
English title?
No, there is no English title.
Let me get back to you on that because that sounds. I might have seen that. Let me get back to you. I just finished with Clannad.
Oh, people hate it.
Well, I'm gonna let you speak on this, Angel, because I know you've seen Clannad as well. But I just want to say, Clannad and Clannad After Story season 2. The thing with Clannad, it has a really bad start. The first season, they waste about 13 episodes on the first. Well, I said this in the review, on the first girl with her stupid cookies and her stupid sister, and a lot of people dump the anime based on the first 12 episodes. After that, the anime really picks up, and in terms of school-based anime, I would say 60-40. 40% they got school element in there, 60% not so much. But they are in school most of the time in the first season. The second season, the story progresses, and this is another thing I like about Clannad. It actually has continuity in the story, and it's a really, really good drama. Really, really good drama that illustrates a lot about real life and working hard and family and tragedy, and it sounds like it's hitting all these beats, these boring, repetitive beats, but it's actually done really, really well. The ending to season 2 is really good. They do something really fucked up, but it doesn't happen. I know that doesn't make sense, but I'm not gonna explain myself on that because that'll be a spoiler.
I haven't seen After Story yet.
Okay, After Story is miles better. If you like the first season of Clannad, After Story is just way miles better. But anyway, I think Clannad is as far as school anime goes, I think it's one of the best out there. It's just that first season wasted half of its episodes getting started. So how do you feel about that, Angel, anyway? You said you saw it.
I liked Clannad. Even the first few episodes where they were talking about the girl and her sister. The only thing that I didn't really like was the fact that they kind of copped out with her and made her not exactly there. It was one of those things where everybody could see her and everything like that. She could touch people. She could do all this stuff. And then all of a sudden they cop out and make everybody forget her or something like that. And she like showed up once again and nobody knew who she was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't quite get that at all.
I agree, but I hated that character. So when she disappeared, it made I loved it.
Yeah, but then she shows up again.
But they're never going to her again. And out of all the characters, you rarely see her ever again in the whole series. But like I said, her character is extremely annoying. So it's like a breath of fresh air that you don't have to see her as much.
I thought she was cute.
With her cookies or her whatever anyway, I don't want to get into that.
She whittled.
Yeah. So anyway, get into my worst. School Rumble. I touched on this a little bit when you brought this up, Angel. I think I love the comedy in School Rumble. The thing I didn't like about School Rumble is it started to build up this underlying storyline between the main character Harima and the somewhat main character girl. I can't remember her name right now. The short girl. And it's one of those animes that tries to balance comedy with drama. More comedy than drama. But then they introduce all these side characters and they have their little dramas, and then it can't make up its mind what it wants to be, and then at the end it completely falls apart. The storyline that they're building, you want to find out how it resolves. At the end of the first season, they do this thing where they make up a fake ending, first of all, which I thought was cool, which I thought was funny. But in the second season, it got very repetitive. And although throughout the anime, it's very funny. I'm not going to deny that. I love the comedy. I love that guy, Harima, the sunglasses guy. He's a great guy. I love that character. But the anime was too ambitious for its own good. And at the end, it falls apart. And that last season, that's season 3, that's 2 episodes, is totally ridiculous. So... yeah, I don't like the way they implemented the story. It's too ambitious for me. Didn't resolve anything it set up, and it ends up just being weird, ultimately. When you look at it in retrospect, it's just silly, in my opinion, anyway.
Now, I have to agree with you there on that little aspect, but I still liked it. So,
yeah.
Different tastes.
Yeah. My second anime is Tenju Tenj. Oh, boy, here we go. This is an anime that is all about everything we don't like about anime. Fan service. All right, let me be more clear about this. Most people know this anime for the anime that has breakdancing in the intro. If you guys have seen the intro, it's got the rapping and the breakdancing and the characters. The animation was really good, and they all do martial arts. Problem with the anime is very simple. It's set in high school, right? All the characters you see in the intro are meant to be the main characters, but after about 4 episodes, the anime goes in a completely different direction with characters that have nothing to do with the main character of the story. They go into a flashback, to be precise, that takes up the majority of the anime, that has nothing to do with the main characters. Then when the anime eventually gets back into its main story, it makes no sense. Icing on the cake, it doesn't end. They made some OVAs to end it. The OVAs didn't end, which makes it even worse. So, yeah, it's flashy. It looks good. That it's just fluff. It's one of those animes. It looks like a really nice cake, but when you eat it, it's a piece of shit. Simple as that. I really don't like the way they did this anime. And I heard the manga is pretty much the same, but I haven't read it.
But surprisingly, I mean, it's another one of those where, I mean, the manga has some popularity over in Japan, which to me is kind of the same thing with Air Gear. Air Gear is hugely popular. Anime, terrible.
Mm. Have any of you guys seen Tenjo Tenj?
I have not.
I watched a couple episodes and gave up. I didn't like the characters. I mean, story seemed all right, but I just I just couldn't handle it. It was just annoying.
All right, moving on to the last title because we're trying to wrap this up now. Shuffle. Shuffle is a harem anime that just was done wrong, as far as I'm concerned. It starts off with this storyline between this guy. He's got to pick his fiance out of two groups of girls. Half of them are angels, half of them are demons. Then I don't know what else to say. Then it goes through the motions of being a harem. Oh, misunderstandings. Oh, I got to shop for this girl's underwear. Blah 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 blah. Then near the end, one of the characters turns into a bit of a psychopath, and they bring up all these dramatic flashbacks. And then then after that they go into some soppy love shit at the end. It's a total mess. Total shit. Would not recommend it. Then they got a second season, which is atrocious second season. That is a rehash of the first season. Pointless.
Oh, see, that's just a shortened retelling of it. Is really what it is.
Yeah, a retelling of shit is just terrible.
Yes, I mean overall looking at it, it's not all that great of a show, but I like the first half of it because it is the harem comedy. So I always enjoy it. So I like the first half, but it's when it does that 180 and gets all drama-y, and the problems with one of the female characters, and then the problems with the dude. Yeah, the dude just being a puss about things. It's just like, oh my god. But at least I mean, for a harem series, it does do one thing right that most harems do not, and that is the guy actually picks a girl.
Yes, just like Clannad. I will. That's the one thing I will agree to you. That is refreshing. And another title, which we're not going to talk about, where it's because it's not high school at all, where the guy ends up with all the girls, is Tenchi Mayo GXP. That's another example.
That was being
I
redone.
love GXP.
Yeah, but the ending to that is ridiculous. The ending for that. I know I just went totally in a whole new universe, but I do love GXP. I should say that. But when I think of that ending, it reminds me of a lot of harem endings where the main character ends up with all the girls, and it just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, Clannad and Shuffle do that one thing right. But I think Clannad is miles superior than Shuffle.
Oh, I mean, of course. So, I mean, but really, I mean, if I would ever suggest people to watch Shuffle, which I don't, watch the first half of the show. Watch the first half and then watch like the last 2 episodes.
I guess. And sorry, obviously I've just kind of given it a mini review without going on the school element of it. Non-existent to me. School element, more or less non-existent. They're in school, they go to school. You don't see any really activities, and yeah. Yep,
I agree there.
That's my recollection of it. So yeah, it's a very badly done school anime. Yeah. All right, people. So now we've basically gone. That took a while, probably like 50 minutes or so, for us to all go through random titles we love, titles we don't like. But that's to give you an example. And remember, people, we didn't go through the 493 titles.
I went through how many anime series I've watched, and there are a lot that have school in them.
Yeah.
We would be here all day if we did that.
See, that's when you need to do a live stream. That's where that makes more sense.
We'll see. That's something people have suggested in the past, and it's all about the want for it. If people want that, if there's an audience for that, then I'm up. I've done something like that in the past, but that's neither here nor there for now. But all right, man. So I think we've all gone through our list of school anime themed, school life anime we like, we hate, random titles. So now let's get back into the discussion of a bit of it, and let's talk about Japanese culture. And people might, what do you mean Japanese culture? What I mean is, how many of us have actually been to Japan? You guys been to Japan?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Haven't been to Japan. And we watch so much anime, and we see so many of these school themed animes, we might I know this sounds ridiculous, and maybe, oh, what are you talking about? Some people might believe some of the stuff you see in anime. You know, some of the things we see. What is the truth from the fiction? And we don't have a Japanese person on the podcast to tell us where things differ from the anime from real life, because, you know, I do find Japanese culture somewhat interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where, Soti fan, you come in, man, because you sent me the link to a really, really interesting blog series written by an Anime Vice member called, what is this guy's name?
Mad Perio.
Mad Perio. And he wrote a 9-part blog about Japanese school life versus what we see in anime, basically.
Yeah, and what's cool is he actually, you know, based those a few of those blogs. Like he asked the community, you know, like, hey, what are, you know, some questions or things you can come up with that you're wondering the differences between, you know, real life Japanese school life and anime, you know, school life. And so, you know, me and however many other users asked him some questions, and then he just went right in there and, you know, answered them.
Yeah, people, and just so you know, all the links to those blogs are going to be in the show notes, so you can check them out. And I highly recommend that you don't just read the blogs, but you read the comments, because like Soti Fan just said, people asked him a lot of questions that you might have want to ask, and sadly, you said that guy's not active anymore. You can't get a hold of him right now?
I haven't tried, but I noticed that he hasn't been active for about a year now, so I'm not sure why. However, of course, if I remember right, he was, you know, teaching in Japan, so obviously, you know, that can be a very, you know, time-consuming thing, especially, you know, because some schools have 6-day weeks and they're trimesters, and so.
Yeah. And, you know, you read the blog. I read the blog just recently, and I only got a hold of the blog the night before we did this podcast, so I didn't give Angel a chance to read up on it. So, you know, you're going to have to kind of interject and feed off what we're saying, Angel. So, you know, we're going to keep you involved. Don't worry. We're not
Well,
gonna leave you out,
at
really.
least I know a couple things about it.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest with you, even he himself wrote that everything he writes in his blog isn't the law. He can only go off his own experiences, and, you know, I can only go off what he says. But, you know, if you fact check a lot of these things, they seem correct. A couple of the things he wrote, I did check on them, because just out of curiosity, and they do seem to be true. A couple of them are interesting. We won't touch on everything. I'm only going to touch on the things I can actually remember, because, you know, I want you guys to check out the blog, and I'll give a guy a big shout out. That's some great writing, man. A lot of people do a lot of great things, and, you know, this podcast is about highlighting people in the anime community writing about good things, and this guy did really good. And, you know, if I have the opportunity to have him on the podcast, you better be damn sure I'm going to take it. But for now, we're just going to try to reference his stuff as much as we can.
I do love in his first one, he uses an image from Sorono Toshimono and says, you won't see this, you know, talking about the school uniform, you won't see the style, but the skirt length is pretty accurate.
Don't you just love the guy for his attention to detail?
Makes me wonder what he was looking at.
Angel, not everyone's perverted, you know. I'm sure it was all for the benefit of the blog. It was nothing, you know, dubious about it all.
Of course not.
Men. That's all I'm going to say on that. Men.
Women.
All right. So first off, without looking at the guy's blog, let me ask both of you guys, when you watch these high school animes, are there anything that really stands out to you about anything in the culture or anything you see in comparison to your own high school culture, first of all?
The kids living on their own is one thing that I've noticed.
Yeah.
What did the guy write again? He said that, so I'm going to have to paraphrase a bit. He was saying that it's not, in anime, it's totally kind of exaggerated to the point where in real life, his experience of it is more, I think it's kids that either have like a scholarship in sports. Apparently that's when sometimes the school will rent you an apartment, but usually it's like a dorm on campus. It's not usually an apartment, an empty apartment block. You know what I mean? That's just ridiculous. Who would do that?
Yeah.
Another situation, which is more realistic, would be if you're going to like a prep school or private school that's very far from home, because those schools are not, they're not a lot of them in Japan. So in that case, you would have to maybe move far from home and live in a small apartment just to commute easier to that private school because there's not a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking about British schools and college and whatever and that kind of thing, no, not really. Guys living alone. No, not really, man. It's hard out here. So when you see that in anime, it always seems like a fantasy. It's never something I believed.
Well, especially for Americans, we normally stay with our folks until at least 18. And then they're able to kick us out. So basically, all our high school life is us and our parents.
Yeah, exactly.
And isn't that reflected in a lot of your, like, we've gone on about, people complaining about high school in anime all the time. But America, they use high school in their TV shows all the time. How many high school TV shows are there that go on and on, like One Tree Hill and Friday Night Lights, and they're all set in high school. They're all about the romance, the breakups, all the same tropey shit that you see in high school anime, you see in American real life TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there are cultural differences.
Well, part of that is also the when the American shows have no parents in them, it's more of the fantasy that all teenagers really want is I don't have to deal with my folks at all during this time. I can just be myself, be on my own. It's the fantasy aspect of that.
It's a rebellious, theme. It's not so much a that's just how it is thing like it is in anime.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you bringing it up, it seems like I think the Americans and British have this in common, being on your own and being, being independent is something empowering.
Mm-hmm.
But in anime, it's like being alone is associated with depression. It's associated with, a negative aspect. And that's why all these guys that live alone, they end up with harems. The main character's living alone, and all of a sudden, one girl comes to live with him, and another girl, and his sister, and his cousin, then their friends, and his classmates. You know what I mean? The guy just can't be alone. He can't be a guy that lives on his own and has his sexual adventures outside of his lonely life. He's got to live in with the girls and outside with the girls and never be alone.
Yeah, actually, especially, this living alone thing, that's where I, going back to, applying, the different things in school, in comparison to school life, as far as, getting people's attention and relatability this is something, it doesn't like happen in real life, but it's like you had said, it's an escapism thing. And so this idea that these students are by themselves, to real life, people reading that and seeing it, to them that's empowering, and makes them more individualistic as character, and gives them a certain tone as a character. And so thus, relatable in some sort of way, whether they're alone by choice or by some tragic accident or otherwise,
Yeah, I agree with that. There's also a lot of other things that I think are realistic in these anime shows and in Japanese culture that I think we all share in common, that makes it easier for us to all enjoy these shows. Like, for example, stuff like cultural festivals, sports events, class presidents and stuff like that. We do have those in our lives, and I assume you guys have experienced that in your high school.
Something similar, but not really the way that they do it.
Yeah, we don't have cultural festivals, though.
Yeah.
We've had like a day that people come in and talk about their culture, but we don't really, or at least for me, we didn't really have a whole week where the students would do something special for that.
We have a cultural festival in London.
Well, your culture is a lot more open for things, though.
Oh no, it's called Bonfire Night.
See, that sounds cool. Cause see, you know what? When we're around a bonfire, it means we're in the middle of the woods drinking.
I'm messing with you guys, man. It's the same bloody thing. We don't have any culture in London. I mean, the stereotype is fish and chips and drinking at the pub and watching Manchester United, soccer, as you guys call it. We call it football because that's what it's meant to be called. But anyway, that's
Shut up.
Shut up, you shut up.
I love my American football.
But yeah, man, I mean, when I watch your American shows, even, you guys have more activities than us. We don't have this whole student council thing, class president. Not really. Sports festival, no. We have one day in school we call sports day, one day a year, where we just compete against each other. But
that's close to us as well.
And when I'm watching anime, it just looks really glamorized. And when you look at the guy that we're referencing his blog, he says that even in Japan, the way they depict the school events, these sports events, these cultural festivals, a little bit more glamorous than it actually is in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like you said, sorry, fan, I guess it's to be expected because it's all, escapism, it's anime, it's all about, making shit up.
Making it more fun than what it really is.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people, I've seen people believe some of the, Japan gets a really bad rep for, they're crazy, the shit they watch, the shit they do, they got the panties in the vending machines.
That is true.
Yeah.
But, like I said, when you see those crazy things, and you watch anime, and you see some of the crazy things in anime, for example, and this is not so crazy, the rooftop.
Yeah, see, that was a big thing that a big point that he made in one of these.
Yeah, the anime rooftop. In every single anime, there's a rooftop on the top of the school.
It's a vital place. It's a place of, in various, depending on what kind of series you're watching, it's a various, place. But it's a confidential, private place where either the couple goes to make out or have sex, or the buddies go up there to discuss their ideas or their dreams, or or there's confessions, or so many things.
It's so iconic in anime.
I've seen it as a place of drama.
It is.
If you don't want drama, don't go on top of the roof.
It's so iconic in anime. What doesn't happen on the roof? You get in Naruto, there's an epic battle. I don't know why I started bringing up the big three, but in a lot of anime titles, being on the roof is so epic on so many different reasons. The question is, man, and reading this guy's blog, does the roof exist? His answer, no.
Plain and simple.
No, what the hell? What school would have an open roof that anyone could just... And in anime, when you see these roofs that don't have anything there, what's their purpose? Nothing. They don't have, it's crazy. I know that, in anime, fine, we're taking a piss, whatever. In real life, I can tell you there's no roof. It's a hazard, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Then having a roof to access, kids can access, is a fucking hazard.
Even though, almost every single one of them, though, has these huge, 8-10 foot fences on top of them.
Not all of them.
I mean, not all, but some series do have that, and it's just okay.
Let me go with Angel for a minute. Do you know how many anime I've seen where kids jump off the roof?
I've seen a couple. I know that.
It's always in a murder anime or like a suspense anime. Oh, that kid jumped off the roof. And I'm like, why the fuck was the roof open? Why
I've
is
seen
this?
it in Please Teacher.
I love Please Teacher.
Why can't I think of titles to call right now? I've seen it so many times.
Heaven's Memo Pad is one where a girl jumps off the roof.
Okay. I think, what's that one? Something Sins. There's a really popular anime about some people that gets killed on the roof. Anyway, I just want to ask you guys, because I know this is a kind of I don't want to say it's a nitpick, but it's just so iconic in anime. The rooftop, the school rooftop, and it's always the school rooftop. So either the house rooftop, sometimes it's the rooftop of the building, like in Steins Gate. We was talking about that, Soti fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's the roof that the main character meets the girl on a lot, somewhere near the middle of the series. So like I said, the roof is very iconic. But in America, do you guys have a roof in your high schools?
No, we weren't allowed up there. But basically, even if we were allowed up there, I don't think people would want to go up there.
There was no way for me to get on our high school's roof unless it was with a ladder or a tall truck, because my school was only one floor, and so there's nothing up there. Oh, I guess I could have crawled out from the gym windows on top of there.
The only way for us was a rickety old ladder, and that's why I said nobody would want to go up there. It was because that ladder did not look like it was the safest thing.
Well, I don't know who was the creator, anime, who pioneered that, who started that, but some anime writer started that roof scene, and it's just gone through all these titles, and now it's just a beat you got to hit. If you have a school theme anime, you got to be on the roof at some point. It's got to be iconic. It's got to be a big scene, and you can love it or hate it.
They even have it in Baka du Test.
Really? I can't remember that, right now.
The ending part.
Oh, I do. They had the major battle on the roof, major battle, and yeah, don't want to spoil it, but it was that was great. Thanks for bringing back those good memories, Angel. That was a great episode. All right, so here's another trope. I would call this a trope, to be specific. The struggling club. How many school themed animes have a club that's just struggling, that needs one more member, or they're trying to get this group started,
If you think about it, K-On! Had that for a while.
Didn't the Melancholy of Suzuhama, blah blah blah, didn't have that as well?
Suzumiya.
Yeah, that.
Another school range series that I don't like.
I think that series is ridiculously overhyped. But, that's...
I agree.
I like it, but I think it's also overhyped a bit.
Well, apparently that was a whole culture thing as well. That was just a Japanese thing that came over here, and, I don't know. But, yeah, the Struggling Club, there's a lot of shows. Why can't I think of any more? Ping Pong Club. That's a really old, really crazy, perverted anime series.
I just finished a series, I don't know, about a month ago that had a Struggling Club.
My thing with the Struggling Club is, we're talking about anime versus reality here. It's very simple. If a club is struggling, it's gone. Schools don't have time to waste. And in anime, there's always a petition, or if you get this much and much members, wow. In reality, it's nothing like that.
Actually, it's reality here, at least in my school. Basically, we would have struggling clubs. But the fact is, most of the clubs that we had, the only help that they got from the school was a room.
Well, in my school life, rooms cost money, and rooms are space that could be used even to store. They would rather store boxes in those rooms than let us have a stupid club that they didn't even care for.
We were in the classrooms.
My school didn't have any such things. I mean, our clubs were all run by the teachers, and so they just used like their classrooms to do that. But like as far as like clubs go, the only club we had was we had FFA, and then like our school yearbook club, and then otherwise we just had committees of people who would help put together like the school dances and whatnot. Otherwise, everything else was actually already part of the school, and there was nobody even thought, I think, of really making clubs and whatever. Because I mean, I went to school here in the middle of BFE. There's nothing, and yeah.
So let me hit on another point that your man's blog was pointing on as well. And Angel, you wanted to hit this as well. I'm going to put these two together because I think they're very similar.
Okay.
In anime, you see lack of teachers and lack of family members. It relates to the living alone thing as well.
Yep.
But reality, let me talk about the blog. The blog first. He said totally, again, mostly fiction. You know, in Japan, the schools have teachers. Come on now. You have to have teachers. They don't just leave you alone. And I know in anime they do show teachers, but usually they're part of the background. And apparently in the blog, and I believe so too, teachers they're paid to do a job, and they're there.
Well, let me also bring up the fact that most teachers, when they're actually shown in anime, are extremely stupid.
For the most part, I would say yes.
That or they just ignore the students and they just keep teaching while the students talk, and that's what you pay attention to.
Yeah, they just don't care. And when I read that blog by the guy, I need his name in my head, but he was saying that, you know, and this was very similar to British schools. They have homeroom teachers in Japan that do care about their students, you know, and they're considered like second parents. And this is something I've never seen in anime. I've never seen a teacher look after a class and go the extra mile. It's the complete opposite in anime.
I actually have seen a couple that are like that.
Well, if the teacher is vital to what the story is.
Well, a couple have, actually, and some of them. I just cannot remember which ones they were now.
Well, only guy teacher would be one.
It's not very common.
I think she was too interested in her students, don't you think so?
It's not common. I do have to say that. But there are a couple that are like that have a teacher that actually cares about them.
Have you guys seen this show called I, My, Me, Strawberry Eggs?
I have. That's one of them, I believe.
Yeah, no.
I, My, Me, Strawberry Eggs.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones that I was talking about. I just could not remember the name before.
Oh, okay, yeah. The teacher, he is a guy, but he really loves teaching. But he wants to teach in an all-girls school. They wouldn't allow male teachers, so he pretends to be a woman. And yeah, he does care about his students a lot. He does go the extra mile, but he ends up falling in love with one of the students. And it to me, it got a little bit twisted. But I do like the ending of the anime. And I do think it is a good example of a teacher caring about students. And I wish I could say it was more real to Japanese life, but you know, a guy dressing up as a woman and then falling in love with a female student, I don't know if that's a good example for Japanese, you know, life.
Well, to me, the storyline on that one worked out really well because of the fact that he cared so much. It wasn't I didn't really see him falling in love exactly with the student, but I saw it more of he wanted to be there for her because she didn't seem to have anybody else there. Everybody else was so strict to her that she wasn't able to show her true potential.
Yeah.
So I don't see any really romance in that aspect.
I can agree with you that he didn't fall in love with her, but the last couple of episodes, she fell in love with him.
Yeah.
And they kept on getting in sexual situations, and he was holding back because he knew what he was doing was wrong. And, you know, I mean, it was a good show. I can't lie.
But that's kind of normal because even in America, some kids end up falling in love with their teachers. It's not that they'll act upon it. I mean, I heard my friends who were girls talking about, oh, this teacher is really cute or this teacher's really hot type thing. It wasn't that they would act upon it. It was more of we really like them.
That's a good point. You got anything to add to that, Sooty?
No, because I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, so lastly, before we get into the final question for the podcast, here's a little troll. Maybe I'm nitpicking here, but what's up with all the characters in the anime sitting by the window? You know, how come they always got that seat? You know, they always got that seat that they can see outside the window into the class, you know? And I can't say, you know, I can't compare this to a blog or anything like that because we're talking about one character, and now I'm just talking about the anime, and I'm just nitpicking. This is another trope that I find, pretty hilarious.
And see, this is the first time that it's come up for me in a conversation, and so I've never really thought about it. And so, my initial thinking is it's another way of connecting the character, because then also, the scene always shows the character. It's just a pan over of the character's face, and they're looking outside, and for some reason the window's open, and it's blowing their hair, and the curtain or whatever. And it's just like, it's always, some sort of pensive moments where, the character is thinking about one thing or another, or nothing at all. And then, of course, then usually a comedic bit happens where something gets thrown at them, or their thought process gets interrupted. And so, but
yeah.
I think, it's either another thing of relating, of just like, another character relation, or also it individualizes the person, because a lot of times that person is also in the very back. And usually it's the worst students that sit in the back.
Well, for me, it was one of those things where I'm sure that you guys have had this time where you're so tired and the lecture is so boring that you just stare off into space. And I think that's kind of why they have it there, is to where, to them, it's how should I put this?
It's another escape.
Well, it's an escape, but it's also putting that feeling into a picture. Normally, you can't really get a normal feeling of daydreaming and everything if the character is like in the center of everything. But if they're off to the side, then they feel like there's a wall between them and the other classmates. And so it's just that way of just falling out of the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that, and I know it's one of those things that why would you nitpick on something like that? Why would you're taking it out of context, staring out the window? It's just, it's part of the story, but every single anime you see it.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 30 seats in the classroom, all right, and the first two rows or the two columns are either against the wall or in the center. But then you got the other one that's against the window, and your main character is always going to be sitting on that side to be pensive, like you said, Sooty, or to think or to stare at someone. And does it bother me? Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily bother me, but it's just one of those things you pick up on. When you watch a lot of anime, you start to see these things that, oh, here we go again, we'll stare out the window. How come he's always got that seat? But
supposedly it's the luck of the draw, but you have to figure that they put them here for a reason.
Yeah. If people are listening to me, what's this guy talking about? I'm saying change it up. That's what I'm saying. Change this shit up a bit. And that's the point of our very last question, people, because we're coming to the end of the podcast. We've been doing this for about 2 hours now, longer, because we were speaking before we even did the podcast. But now, I got to ask you guys the simple question, man. It's a double question, because I asked this when we started the podcast. Are you sick of this whole... Are you like everyone else? Oh, I'm so sick of seeing the school genre. And if you are sick of it, what do you want to see? What do you want to see different in the school genre of anime, school life? So let me put that question to you guys.
Well, for me, when we're talking about what I want changed, I have to bring up Soul Eater, because that's one of my favorite ones, in that it has taken these idea of school and twisted it slightly.
That's an excellent example, by the way. Yeah, that's it's a technicality that it doesn't fit the normal norm of school life, but it's exactly that. It's set in an academy for learning their craft and for becoming better soul reapers or whatnot. So yeah, that does technically make sense, and yeah, you are right about that. So yeah, continue.
So basically, for me, what I want to see more of is the character's development, definitely. Because most school life, I've noticed, seems to drag on with the same characters in the same round, just doing what they can to just get a good education or to get the romance. I really like the stuff that goes beyond that. And even though, like, Soul Eater does have times where they go out of the school and it doesn't seem like it follows the school life at all, everything rounds back to the school itself.
Yeah, because, every single mission they go on is out, to defeat whatever, demon or monster or whatever and gather their souls. And, they have to collect 99 souls and a witch's soul in order to
become a death scythe, yeah.
And even though, like, later on it does veer away from that slightly, it's like the ending scene is all at the school. Everything has conjugated at the school itself.
Even though many people complain about the difference between the ending of the anime and the manga.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about the anime here. I have not seen the manga all the way through. But
I have not either.
Neither have I. I've only seen the anime myself, yeah.
But it all conjugates right at that school. That is the main focus of how all the characters met each other, why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. I guess another series that I'm thinking about that actually kind of falls into that boat is Demon King Daimao.
That rings a bell. I don't. Yeah, go elaborate on that.
It's a Sentai Filmworks series, and it did get dubbed. Came out last summer. But like it's a magician's school. It's a school for people who can use all different kinds of magic, and then they and they get to figure out like what kind of careers they can that they're going to get and whatnot. And one of the the main character wants to be like a type of like a type of priest, and then he gets told by this machine that is never wrong and tells everyone what their career path will be, and said he will be the next Demon King. And so, then hilarity and whatnot ensue. It's a fan service comedy title, but I mean, just pretty much, and really nothing takes place in class, but it does center around the school and the magic and just and then of course the ending then was it's a little confusing on what it's trying to do.
So it sounds like you're agreeing with Angel then, basically, kind of switch it up a bit, make it. Well, you guys are talking about mixing genres as well, with not just having a normal school life anime, but actually mixing it with a totally different genre and making it totally different.
Yeah, and I mean to kind of go in on that, there are two titles I'd like to mention that do deal with some sort of education, but not so much exactly, education in school. And the first one I'll say is Bakuman. I love it to death, and it's by the same duo that created Death Note.
Death Note, yes.
Oba and Obata. So I mean, it's fantastic. The manga is done in Japan, by the way.
I know. It broke my heart, man. We did review Bakuman on the show. I love that series. Love it.
Yeah. But I mean, and the cool thing, I mean, obviously it starts in middle school and covers through high school and part of their lives in college. But I mean, and then of course, after that, I mean, the story still the whole time covers exactly what it means to be a mangaka. And that's fantastic. That's education outside of a school environment. It's learning a trade. And obviously in Japan there are a lot of manga that have to do with actual lives of everyday people. Like if you're like a broker or a salesman, like there are manga about that kind of life. Yeah. So I mean but it's just nothing that we get. It doesn't get the popularity for us to see something like that.
Yeah, the funny thing is, a lot of those titles do fall out of the school life genre, though, like you said yourself just now.
Yeah, and so that's always nice to see.
For instance, there's a show that I was going to bring up actually with that. Bottle Fairy is a pretty good one. It's a cute little show, basically that centers around 4 little fairies who are trying to learn how to be human, and like almost every episode is named after a month and they are learning the holidays of that month and what humans do during those months.
Sounds like a children's show.
It is a children's show. I have to say that, but it's cute innocence of trying to learn, and yet it's not set in school. Although the human that does help them, they call him sensei. So and sensei meaning teacher.
Yeah.
It sort of goes along the same lines of, here's something that could be considered a style of school anime without the school involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good example, and an example that I don't know if we spoke about on the podcast because we spoke about it pre-recording was Honey and Clover.
Yeah.
Which we've already reviewed in the previous episode as well, which doesn't take place in high school but takes place in college/university, and it's really great. It shows you the experiences that these artists go through, and it's a mixture of education for them, drama, romance, and again, it's just more realistic and shows you a third dimension to these characters, as well as the element of what it's like being in college, the stresses, the worries, the threats, financial problems, and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. And I wish more stories would be focused around either college-age characters at the very least, or actual college life. I mean, there are some manga that delve into that, but you don't really see much of it, especially making it into anime-wise, and be worthwhile, and especially as someone who isn't that far outside of college. Shit, I guess it's actually almost 2 years. It's just enjoyable, because then it's more relatable, as your fans grow, as your fan base grows, older. You need to, people need to be able to keep with those age groups of interests.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for that, what I have found is that a lot of people who really liked anime before college seem to sadly grow out of it because everything is high school related or like little kid related, and they have absolutely no way of actually getting into it. So the only way that we're probably going to be seeing college stuff is if people actually cry out and say, hey, we want this college stuff. We want stuff that we can relate to as adults, not just as kids.
Well, then that's going to be more seinen and josei titles, because I guess when we talk about school life anime, it's going to be hitting the shonen demographic more than anything else, which is a shame. Because just like you said, and just like we're always hitting on this podcast, in anime and manga, there is something for everyone. The problem is, with us in the Western Hemisphere, we're not getting to see these titles. They're not getting distributed to us. And, I don't want to go on the whole piracy thing and all that other stuff, but at the end of the day, the problem with anime and manga is, if you want something good, you actually have to look for it yourself. Mm-hmm. It isn't brought to us. And, I'm not going to dog on Funimation. I always do that about the shit they put out, like Cat Planet Cuties and all that other thing.
They butchered that name so poorly. It was just a terrible marketing scheme. They butchered that title just for that reason alone, when it's actually a reasonable series. The fan service is not as played up as they say it is. It's actually, I found the story decent, and of course it's got its funny moments and everything, but it's played off far worse due to a terrible marketing scheme than what it is.
I agree with you on that.
Wait. No. I don't agree with you. Do you know why? There's nothing terrible about that marketing scheme. It's perfect marketing scheme. Cat Planet Cuties. You want to see?
Well, it's a terrible translation for the name too.
Forget about that, mate. They're thinking about sales. That's why they did that shit. They know exactly what they're doing, and they hit it right on the head. I can sit here and tell you I hate fans, I hate this shit, but some horny 13-year-old boy see Cat Planet Cuties, hell yeah, I want to rub one out to that shit.
I'm hoping a 13-year-old isn't watching that stupid show.
Well, that's who they're hitting, and that's what they got. And Funimation, and not only Funimation, a lot of these they're putting out all of these fan service shows. And I know I will say this: Cat Planet Cuties. I actually watched an in-depth review. I don't know if it was the Anime for Dummies guy or if it was this other guy, but when I watched the review for it, I could actually see it wasn't as bad as the name makes it out to be. But it still is, to a point, what I think it is from what I saw. So, not necessarily for me, but not as bad as I think it is, and not as bad as it sounds, basically. But ultimately, it is a fan service show at its core. So,
my thoughts are on that one is basically if they took out some of the fan service, I'm not saying take all of it out, because I know that we do still need that little part for it. But if we took out some of the fan service, it would be a really great show because the storyline has a place to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's action and guns and 2 different kinds of aliens, and who cannot love the assisteroids? I wish I had an assisteroid.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that sounds perverted, man. That don't sound right.
No, it's a little cat robot.
It's a chippy cat robot. It's cute.
Okay,
awesome.
all right. Both of you are defending. All right. You see, I can't even get the words out and say I'm gonna check out Cat Planet Cuties because it just sounds wrong. It just doesn't sound right.
That's why you said the Japanese name, Asobi ni Ikuyo.
Nah, Cat Planet Cuties will do. That's fine, man.
I still think that if they took a little bit of that fan service out, it would be a great show still.
I might give it a try. I would like to, you know what? The way everyone's defending it, I'm not gonna judge a book by its cover, you know. I'm gonna watch. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm gonna watch Cat Planet Cuties.
All right. Okay. Now, I know, when I said I had 2 titles, I mentioned Bakuman, another educational thing that doesn't take place really in school unless there's a story arc that covers it. Golden Boy. Yes, it is very perverse. It's a seinen through and through, but it's very perverse. It's also very funny, and just the things that you can learn, especially just what Kentaro Oe puts himself through to learn about so many different types of jobs and different things in life and different people. It's phenomenal.
Let me tell you something, man. There must be something wrong with you. Golden Boy. You know, that is actually one of my favorite animes I've ever seen.
I love it. The OVA is hilarious.
Let me tell you what I love about Golden Boy. It's the opening. You've never seen a guy look so serious about to ride his bike. But the guy is he's like, don't give it Superman, but he's got this like Clark Kent syndrome. He acts like a complete and utter fool. But when the episode is over, it's like the guy's a genius.
Oh, dude, the OVA is nothing, though. The OVA really is only the first volume. I've went ahead and been online, and there are 10 volumes out. I've only been able to read through volume 8. And let me tell you, actually, volume 8 is basically a hentai. But I mean, the story arcs that go on later on, and some of them, a couple of the arcs cover multiple volumes. It's so in depth of just like how much of a fool he acts like, and then he knows exactly what's going on the whole time, even though he's in some psychological study or whatever, and he understands it better than the people that are either treating him badly or putting him through that experiment or whatever. And it's just mind blowing, and it's just like more people need to be like that. I mean, a student of life. That is just fucking fantastic.
It's an amazing anime, and
I actually have to say that is one of the only shows that I've actually been fine with how perverted it is, because they do it tastefully. They don't go out and they don't make a huge deal out of it. It's just one of those things that they do it tastefully most of the time.
You know, I kind of disagree with you. I think the perversion-ness is never really tasteful in that show. The first episode, a woman spits at him and he opens his mouth and swallows. I was like, are you fucking for real? I've never even seen that before in anything.
Like I said,
Dude, that's nothing compared to what comes later.
Yeah, no, obviously, it makes me happy to hear a female defend the show. It really does, because it is extremely perverted.
The lessons are so good, though.
Yeah, I've always loved that show. I think there's don't make me go on about Golden Boy. There's an episode where he actually kisses a man. Oh, hilarious.
It is all just, so much fun. But I mean, I noticed though, the comedy translates so much better animated than when you read it. But otherwise, I love the manga actually more.
It's actually quite a dated anime, but it still looks very good.
1995, man.
Yeah, still very, 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 very good. Dub is excellent, even to this day. Very good dub. And I know we've veered off again, but you guys have all answered the question, and we're going to wrap things up now. But just for me personally, what I want to see in school life anime, you guys have already echoed it. And to be honest with you, I didn't even think on that level. All I was going to say was, what I was originally going to say was something like Toradora. Take your characters seriously, make it interesting, and you're going to win. But to be honest with you, there's enough titles like that out there. So now I want to see you mix it up. Mix the genre, totally make it educational, and just take it to a whole nother level. You know, if you're going to do the school thing, make it completely different. You know, you can have your cake and eat it too. And a lot of the shows you guys just mentioned do exactly that. So more of that. But, you know, I just want to finish by saying, I'm not bothered about them reusing the anime school. You know, people, well, it's a school anime, it doesn't really bother me. I don't really give a shit. My personal opinion is, as long as the story's good, I don't care what the premise is. If you want to, I like Full Metal Panic, personally. I do. I don't really think too much about the high school element. I just think whatever. It's overall, I look at everything overall. I don't really care about the themes too much, but
exactly.
Yeah, I do see that they are using high school a lot, but at the end of the day, we already said this in the very beginning, it's a gateway for everyone to get into something on a foundational level. End of story. And if you're getting bored of it, good luck for you finding something else, because the majority of anime, it has a high school element in it.
You'll have to start watching all your action series. Hey, Jormungand Season 2 coming up.
There you go.
Well, I agree with you there. I agree that if the storyline is good and the animation is good, and even if the dub is just a little bit off, there's ways around it. It has to be good on all those levels in order for me to actually watch it. I don't care if it's school life or even if it's mecha. I'm not a big fan of mecha, but if it has a really good storyline, I'll watch it.
Yeah, except for, it kind of went bad with Rosario plus Vampire. I'm actually liking the manga better. I mean, I enjoy the anime. I mean, it does have a lot more fan service than what the manga has, and I mean, it's enjoyable to watch. But it's one of Funimation's worst dubs that they've done to me. That's what keeps me from buying it, is just because the dub is bad.
I actually liked the dub. What I didn't like was all of the breast shots that they had and underwear shots. That's the only thing.
Okay, guys. Yeah, well, guess what, man? I think we're at the end of the podcast. We've spoken for nearly 2.5 hours, and we've covered a lot. A lot of it was about anime titles. People, I think on this episode, I'm going to put some time codes in there again so you can have some easy navigation. If you just want to hear us talking about the topic in particular and not so much the titles, you'll have easy access there. I want to thank my two guests today, Angel, Otaku, and Soti Fan. Really appreciate you guys coming on. As usual, hope I can work with you guys again. And before we go, let the people know where they can get in contact with you and your work. And we'll let ladies go first.
Well, I've got a Tumblr account that I use. It's angelsreviews.tumblr.com. And I'm also on a lot of other websites. I'm on Spill, of course, and on Crunchyroll, and just tons of other places.
There will be links in the show notes, don't worry. So you're up. So, where can they get in contact with you?
Well, let's see. They can find me on YouTube as SaudiFan16. They can find me here on Spill as SaudiFan16. They can find me on Anime Vice as SaudiFan16. And then the really oddball of it all is they can find me on Twitter. That's at BILDO_88, which pronounced is Bildo_88.
You said Bildo, not Dildo, right?
Yes. The name stems from such, but, you know. And no, I did not give that name to myself. That is one of many nicknames that I have been given. Fair warning for some of you, though. My Twitter account is my only Twitter account that I currently use. I haven't separated myself into two. So it is my personal Twitter account, so there's a lot of stuff regular bullshit that I say. And then, of course, I tweet my YouTube video uploads and my new blogs and everything like that on there as well. So follow at your own risk.
Yeah, well, that's what Twitter's about. Bullshit. And promotion. I'm only joking, people. And you know what? I never promote the Planet Tyro Twitter at Planet Tyro. I have my own Twitter, but I'm going to echo exactly what Stefan just said. I mostly talk tech because I know I talk about anime only on the podcast, but I'm a complete tech freak, and I do talk about everything. Just that I mix it all together. But mostly you'll find the Dreamcast releases, everything on Planet Tyro, and most of my anime related stuff on the Planet Tyro Twitter feed. That's at Planet Tyro. If you want my personal Twitter, you can join me if you want. It's at Don Tyro, DONTYRO. All the links will be in the show notes. The email address, if you want to get in contact with us people, is planettyro@gmail.com. You can find us directly on planettyro.com. That's Planet Tyro with 2 T's. PlanetTyrot.com. And again, I want to thank you guys for being on. And it's been a long, long podcast, so, I'm going to let you guys get back to it.
Let's keep talking!
Let's get the hell out of here.